11 ways how rich people think differently than poor people. While there are a lot of elements to financial freedom, it actually boils down to one core thing, and that's your mindset. Over time, experts have categorized financial mindsets in two ways: the rich mindset and the poor mindset. But what exactly is the difference? Throughout this video, we will be sharing 11 reasons why rich people think differently than the less fortunate. But before we get started, please remember to take a quick second and support our content by liking, subscribing, and turning the notification bell on. If you're all set, then let's get started. Number 1. They always strive for more. One of the main reasons why rich people have different mindsets is because they strive for more. But what do we mean by striving for more? Well, allow us to explain. The middle-class mindset revolves around being content with what you have, no matter how little that is. The reason behind that is simple. Middle-class people and lower-class people believe the rich to be evil, because according to them, money is the source of all things evil. Therefore, to avoid the malevolent, they settle for what they have and never ask for more. While some may refer to this as being content, the successful business owners you see on the covers of magazines like Forbes and GQ would most likely disagree. Because according to the business-savvy entrepreneurs and inheritors of old money alike, lack of money is the source of all evil. Which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense. For example, theft is usually due to the lack of money. And most hate crimes could have been avoided if the victimizers had gone to therapy. What pushes the rich to strive for more is this mindset. By going through every workday as though they're starting from scratch, they are able to build on their already existing income continuously. Number 2. They are not afraid to be selfish when it's necessary. Being in business with several people can be risky until you find your footing. When every one of your clients and colleagues demand different things, you will need to see where you stand with all the options. There is another way how rich people think differently than poor people. When you're rich, you're dealing with all sorts of shares and properties, so being selfish means protecting yourself. When people look at things from this perspective, selfishness becomes a virtue, or rather a method of self-preservation when the survival instincts kick in. This doesn't go to say that rich people are continuously selfish though. They just know when to put themselves first and throw in the towel if an investment is going back. Think of it like being on a sinking ship. If the rest of the people on board are hell-bent on staying, then the least you can do is jump ship and save yourself. As an opposing view, poor people think selfishness is a vice and should be treated like a sin whenever it's spotted. They don't have the killer self-preservation instinct that the rich people do, and they will likely not chase after an opportunity if it takes them to selfishly compete for the spot. Number 3. They can tell when there's a good opportunity on the horizon. Remember how we mentioned that rich people continue to strive for more no matter how much money they have? Well, think of this as an extension of that fact. Rich people are constantly on the lookout for the next big opportunity that will add to their income. They look at everything as an investment. If they buy a watch, they preserve it and wait until it goes off the market to sell it for a higher price. And if they buy stocks, they buy the ones that showcase the most potential. Poor people function on instincts that push them to get by in their day-to-day life. To them, becoming rich is a distant dream, so they don't mind cashing in their investments when they're in a financial rut. They also lack the insight when it comes to finding a good business opportunity because they haven't dabbled in the investing scene before and refuse to take advice from rich people. Number 4. They approach knowledge systematically. In the grand scheme of things, education is just a milestone in your business life, and to be realistic, you probably won't end up using everything you've been taught in school. This is why rich people take a rather systematic approach towards education. Instead of going through the motions of high school, grad school, college, and whatnot, they focus on getting niche-specific education through courses and certification programs. In doing so, they only keep the absolutely necessary information in their brain. This allows them the space to focus on different things, like their next action plan. Poor people, on the other hand, are dead set on the belief that they can never become rich without a full-blown school experience. They take years and years completing their masters and PhDs, whereas the rich focus on one significant point and keep on building their empire. Number 5. They are living in the future. Rich people live in the future. And no, we don't mean that in a sense of they have so much money that they can afford futuristic technology. Every single day is a new opportunity for a rich person. They bet on themselves and try to make good on their self-made promises. In other words, they have a vision that they're constantly trying to fulfill. Hence the popular interview question of, where do you see yourself in 5 to 20 years? Poor people, however, are stuck, reminiscing and missing the good old days where they had more money or did more exciting things. Number 6. They identify money with logic. Another point where the rich differ from the poor in terms of thinking is how they identify and approach money. To rich people, money is a tool that can give you access to things. They use it strategically, like a chess piece, to conquer more areas. However, to poor people, money is something that they are saving up for that happy little retirement plan. And that's their end goal. They don't think beyond that, as if life would magically stop after they retired. After retirement, these people will be more likely to not invest, but rather blow through the money they allegedly saved up. Number 7. They follow their passions and earn money from what they love. This advice is probably the oldest trick in the book, as many of you might have heard from your elders at one point in life, if you do what you love, you will never have to work a day in your life. This is the strategy that rich people follow. They find a gap in the market and use that to get paid for doing things they love. A great example of this in our day would be the content creators you see all over TikTok and Instagram. Those people look like they don't work, when in fact, they've built a platform that will pay them for doing what they love. This is where poor people go wrong. Many people across the globe work for minimum wages at jobs that drain the life out of them. This often leads to burnout, which then makes them quit the job. Number 8. They always challenge themselves and rise to the occasion. If you've ever gone to a therapist or a life coach, there's a good chance that you've been told to keep your expectations low. If you've stuck to that advice, then we're sorry to tell you that it's not part of the rich mentality. Settling for less might seem like a foolproof method of never being disappointed, and while that's true, it's also what kills ambition. Let's get real for a second. If you're lacking the ambition and the drive, you might never get rich, which is why the most successful people never run from a challenge. In fact, they turn it into a game of meeting their goals. Therefore, in retrospect, they get to achieve more while broadening their horizons and extending their limits. Number 9. They don't need money to make money. Let us stop you right there before you start thinking of course they wouldn't need money to make money because they're rich. These people weren't always made of money, so this begs the question, how did they build their empire with little to no money they could rely on? The answer is really simple. They use other people's money. Whether it's through a family member or an angel investor, it's not that hard to find a startup nowadays. In fact, people do this all the time by using a method called crowdfunding. So why don't poor people do this, you ask? They believe you have to have tangible amounts of money to make money. To them, these methods of raising money are possible scams. But there's one point that they're looking past. If you have nothing to lose, a scam can't hurt you. Nobody can scam you if you're using a card with $0 on it. It's simple logic once you drop the linear thinking and look at the bigger picture at hand. Number 10. They understand that all markets are driven by emotion and greed. If you've been in business for a while, you'll know that stock markets are adult playgrounds. You don't need fancy tricks to get your money's worth because most people in the market will act on a whim since they are driven by emotions such as fear, frustration, and greed. Rich people observe these emotional and behavioral changes that occur in their contemporaries to maneuver the market. If you pull the right strings and use a few psychology tricks, you can easily take control of people's emotions. This is one of the oldest business tricks in the book. So, rich people don't win in the market due to their math skills. They win because they are emotionally intelligent. However, poor people try to be good at the numbers game and calculate profits instead of trying to evaluate what's going on around them. This only leaves them scraping for some bit of luck while the rich get richer. Number 11. They read things with educational value. Reading is part of the systematic education that the rich put themselves through. If you put a rich person in a bookstore, they will likely invest in books that will give them a better understanding of how to grow an empire and make more money from the comfort of their homes. If you put a poor person in the same setting, they will be more into the magazine section or fluffy novels. While there's nothing wrong with reading a book for enjoyment, enjoying learning is where the rich set themselves apart from the poor. This way, they get to learn more while spending less. It's always a solid plan. And that marks the end of our video. If you enjoyed watching this, then be sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up. Want to be the first to know when we have a new video? Then turn on the bell to be notified every time we upload one. Finally, if you're looking for something to binge watch, you can click on the video that's currently on your screen. We'll see you in our next video.